Hello and welcome to AAA Wargaming. This is a Battle Report 46 and it's game 2 of Art of War 6, which was held in February this year down at Bristol Independent Gaming. So my next opponent is another Highboard Elf player and is a good friend, also from Spiky Club. It was John. He brought out Highboard Elves. He's got a few armies. I have better luck against the Ogre Kingdom, no, sorry, Orcs and Goblins and Demon Legions. I don't actually think I'm ever beaten his highboard elves. So, up for a challenge. Luckily, it's not one with an ancient dragon or anything like that. But we'll go on to what is type. It was Frontline Clash and then a special secondary. So this was regifting the Eight Sin. So it looks a little bit like Spoils of War with 3 markers. But what you had to do was all similar rules, but it was the marker, the unit carrying the marker whose center unit is closest to their opponent board edge. So you could do some funky stuff and get like a long line across there and stuff like that. The big thing for this is I've only got one unit that can create 3 ranks, and of my scoring ones that can pick it up, they're all infantry. So I didn't make this logical conclusion until after the game when I realized it. I should have put my archers, mentally thought, right, I will use the archers as just a normal block, put them in 4 ranks, 5 wall, put them 5 wide, and I will march them across to one flank, take it, and then march it to the end of the table. And the whole plan should have been about protecting them. I didn't. I think John and I were looking forward to a relaxing game. We just wanted to have a bit of fun, if I'm really honest. So yeah, that's my list. If you want to go into detail of it, please check out the first video. John's list. So he's got High Prince General on a Griffin with Shield, Dragonforge Armor, Lance, Nova Flare, Diamond Protection, Obsidian Rock. So pretty standard build, pretty scary. It's not something I thought I could go into with my character necessarily, not without some good magical support. And I think if I'd had strength buff, resilience buff, etc., that could have worked. But I think this is something I didn't need. I do think I could have put one of the Kestrels into it if I had the strength 6, but I couldn't guarantee that as well. Then I had a Cosmo Master with Gleaming Robe and Crystal Ball, so it was going to be good against my magic. And then BSB with High Ward of the Flame. So I had to look that one up. So he does get the 4 of Aegis, so it made it a bit more, oh, that's dangerous. And I assumed that guy would either be going in the Sea Guard or more likely the Swordmasters who were coming out. Then had 25 Sea Guard with Aether Icon, 2 units of 5-born Lancers, which would be really useful with the objective. 12 Citizen Archers, which I was like, yes, not a lot of shooting. I actually outshoot this one. 20 Sword Masters, which are always a painful for me, so I was like, if I can, I'd like to shoot them off. A Phoenix with Warden's Bond, so a Frost Phoenix, that's really bad for me because it minuses my agility. Knights of Rhymer, so again, another good one for the objective. Initially, the Fiery Heart, so again, and a Lion Chariot. So he's still got 3 flying monsters, which is not great for me, and quite a bit of cavalry to zone. As much as I don't, as much as I don't want, I think I could take a charge, but it's hit and miss. I could always fail the leadership check, and so I didn't, yeah, I didn't think this was a bad list to play against. I just wasn't sure I could win the objective. In terms of spells, mine didn't change. He, instead of taking Unity, sorry, he didn't have Favor of Maladis, so he didn't take that. He just had Eyes of Fire, Perception, Altered Sight, and Truth of Time, which I thought was a strange one. But actually, after playing against Truth of Time in this game, it was really, really quite useful. And so something I'm going to think about in the future. Just that +2 advance rate is really, really, like, just does make it quite interesting. And then Pyroclastic Flow and Glory to go. So I was really worried about Ice and Fire and Glory and Pyroclastic Flow for me. So here's the board, and that's our beer. We were both started drinking reasonably heavily at this point, I'll be honest. So on the board we got a forest. I dropped my forest there. Another forest. We had a passable, a hill, and that was it. I think there was meant to be more on this table potentially, but it wasn't when we got there. So John won the roll off for sides and chose top left. I then said I'd like him to drop his first unit, and we shared drops. I first dropped this Kestrel. He basically deployed all his knights, his units of 5 knights, because that's not where his combat power is, and it keeps his stuff back. I then deployed my eagles, and then I deployed my other kestrels on this side. Um, because I wanted to see where he would drop and have a think. And when I started seeing where he would go, I dropped. Now, in hindsight, because of this impassable terrain, I wondered whether he'd put more of his characters on this side and just create a threat so that if I bulked up here, I would be blocked off. I shouldn't have been as scared by that as I thought as I was, which is why I was like, no, I want one Kestrels and the Brimanians on this side, because actually with all the shooting and everything else and the Eagles in the middle there and the Bras, I could have delayed enough to move the Kestrels across. And then also, if I had two Kestrels on this side with magical support, suddenly these lot can't push as hard. So actually what my then plan was, I was going to delay as much as possible, just zone and move back here while this side moved up. You can also see that's my archers. I just wanted to use my bows to push this lot back a bit and threaten here so that I could pick that up and move across the board. What I hadn't worked out was by moving 5 inches from turn 3 onwards, I couldn't actually win the objective. So that was silly of me. Otherwise, I've got a scene caster on the left, Great Eagles, Archer, 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 and then I've got my second unit Kestrels and the Brimanians with the general with my two wizards back here. He's got a unit of silver helms, not silver helms, what are they called? Nobles, cavalry, thingy. What are they called? Highborn lancers. That's it. So you've got your highborn lancers, the Sea Guard, the archers. Nishit, the fiery heart, is this one. He's got another unit of highborn lancers, the sword masters, the knights of Rhymer, general, lion, Frost Phoenix. And from here, it was quite clear he was going to go for these two objectives and push on in. And I'd very made my clear I was going to push on there, but we've talked about my mistake. So the other thing, I think I didn't have enough combat power on this side, and I didn't realise this to actually move across. I still thought, okay, I'm going to go for a draw of the objective. I hadn't worked out that I couldn't actually win yet. Vanguards, you can see I've moved my kestrels up on the right and moved the other kestrels back 12 inches, and that's just so I don't get caught out. Now, also in hindsight, this was probably a mistake. If I'd moved forward, I'd have delayed all his, even if I'd come more central and just accepted a ice and fire shooting and all that jazz. Because of staying here, I can threaten his stuff coming forward. But by moving back, what I did was I just basically gave him a free movement to come forward. And that was pretty stupid of me, I think. This is just to have I thought this would be a nice photo. You can see a really nice effect here of me coming out the woods, even though they aren't actually woods. Um, yeah, so I was pretty happy with that. Cool, right, so my turn one. So as you can see, I've moved up all my archers. I didn't move. What my plan here is, okay. I don't know. I've got a picture at the end of my turn one. No, I left them there because I wanted to zone them here, but actually what I should do was move forward. We talked about the Eagles. I wanted to keep them in the centre, so if he went for this, I was going to countercharge with both Kestrels. I moved my archers all up to try and kill off the Rhymers when actually I should have just, yeah, we've talked about the archers. And then my Brimanians did come up here. The plan was to try and get a totemic summon off into the backfield, just start having a go at them and get, or a chilling howl off, and then also start using Master of Earth on the archers. Right, Vanguard. Why am I going this way? No, I'm going the wrong way. Sorry. Right, Sylvanel's turn one. Didn't really do any more. There was a bit of shooting and magic, but it was non-eventful. Didn't get any spells off. Right, his turn. So he came. So yes, he came forward quite aggressively. You see, he's already halfway across the board here. So I should have left my Kestrels up there because then I could have forced him to keep at least some of his units back. They didn't want them to charge, and I could have counter-charged quite a lot. So bad on me. Otherwise, he's brought the initiative fiery heart up and his Rymanites to draw me out. He's got his Seaguard there and archers just start whittling away, whilst the rest of his army is going for these two, this one to win the objective. So John's plans pretty well. He takes off a couple of eagles with a magic. I think it was ice and fire, uh, and he takes up some more eagles. So I'm down to about 3 eagles by the end of shooting as well. So there, I don't think I can go into his highborn lancers if I if I had a double strength buff off, I'd have gone in there. I think I can win that combat. I just need to kill one or two, and I think I can do that. But with only one, I was like, that's not really a sensible move, and I don't need to do it yet anyway. Silvernell's turn 2, so you can see I've brought my eagles back so I can start healing them at some point. I've pushed my kestrels around because I really want to threaten this angle here and stop his initiative fight the heart coming. I still haven't realised that my archers I really need to get up there. I hadn't worked out that I needed more time to get to the objective. My kestrels have given off more ground here because I just didn't want to get trapped in there. I didn't want him to sort of give me a 2 moves here and that being my issue, but that wasn't one of the things. I was more concerned at this point about just trying to stop him getting in there and getting my lord into this sort of area, which is why I've moved him across to that unit. Oh no, sorry, he was in that unit. I've just moved them forward 5 inches so they can start whittling away at this. The BSB's in the flank as well, and it's also got initiate the fire heart. So I'm hoping that I can get the points now and then just run in and draw the objective at the end. Master of Earth went off this time, which is good. I killed. There's how many left? So there were 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I must have killed 5 or 4. There's 13. There's 12 and there's 30. So I must have killed 4 of them off that. I then did another 2 wounds to the Silverhelms, and that was with the archers. And then my BSB turned up and put 2 wounds on the initiative fire heart. So he's first proper shooting. He seems pretty good at the moment. Highborn Elf's turn 2. You can see he's again pushing around on the left quite hard. His Sylvan Elms have picked up one of the markers and have moved back around here because they're quite happy. 9 inches with 4 more turns, he can easily get around. Knights of Rhymer have moved over. Sorry, these Silverhelms have moved over this marker. Or sorry, no, they've picked it up and they're going around this way. So he's got 2 options to come in, while his Knights of Rhymer are being protected by this. He did a really good move of using his Phoenix and General, because I think his General beats my Kestrel, was of zoning both of these and making sure that I can't threaten him, which is really, really clever. Otherwise, he's got his Swordmasters threatening, and he's brought his archers in as well, just to make sure his mage can fully use their magic. Yeah, otherwise that's it. His Fiery Heart has moved away. He doesn't need the range. It's quite dangerous. He's got 2 wounds left, so it's only going to take 1 more shot with my BSB, and suddenly he's dead. In magic, he's taken off 3 archers. In fact, it was magical shooting. I think that was magic. Taken off 3 archers with an ice and fire because I stopped pyroclastic flow on my kestrels, I think. So my turn 3, I really wanted to push now because it was at this turn I realised that I think I've screwed up, because you can see I've pushed them up to there and I sort of did some quick mass, and then I realised I was like, yeah, I can still do this with 10 inches, and then I realised I didn't have a 3rd rank, and I was like, oh bugger. So I pushed quite hard with the kestrels over to this side, moved the Briar Maidens up to start having go at what I really want to do is destroy these Seagull quite early. I tried to charge my general into the archers there, and they fled, obviously. It was an easy charge range. I was surprised he brought them forward so quickly, but hopefully, well, it's quite reliable. He's within range of the BSB, so they're probably going to rally, but it does mean that I won't get shot. If anything, as I come forward, that's probably put them in a better position. In hindsight, I should have left them there and just shot them to death with my archers, who were just sat there. Yeah, that wasn't a great move. I could have destroyed that unit there. Other than that, my eagles are moving around, and my kestrels are still sort of doing this delaying action. I brought the eagles back around here just to add a bit more combat threat. But I'm starting to get a little concerned that we're only on my turn 3, and I don't know how to really control this left now because my kestrels are split quite badly. In terms of shooting, though, I'll unload everything into the Sea Guard, and it goes pretty well in terms of magic and shooting, so pretty happy with that. His turn 4, so again, he's pushing forwards on this side, but he has offered me an opportunity here, which I'll talk through in my turn. And he's turned his Sea Guard around and brought his initiative, the Fiery Heart. So these Kestrels are going to get it in the neck from a breath weapon, magic. So what I really need to stop is pyroclastic flow and just let everything else come through. He does rally his archers with the mage, which is unfortunate because that would have been a great experience. But more importantly, from an objective point of view, you can already see he's got 3 more turns. Like he's going to get to the board edge in 2. So at this point, I was thinking about how I can get a totemic summon off to try and get back there, because I just don't think there's a way I can do it. Especially as John was being very clever, he wasn't letting me bounce over. That looks closer than it actually is. I couldn't actually just move 18 inches and get over the top of here. That was actually impossible for me, because otherwise that would have been amazing. In terms of this, yeah, between everything else, he took off 2 of them, so I lost 2 kestrels, which was not great. But it's still a reasonable combat threat, and I managed to whitter down the Sea Guard last turn, so there's only about 10 of them. So I was still pretty happy going in with that one, and then hopefully getting the Brahminians around to shoot off the initiate. Turn 4, I charge. John agrees. The Sea Guard are not going to want to take this, so they run. And I was like, oh, great. I then decided that I was going to go for a bit more break, so I charged the Kestrels into the Rhymer, and they fled. And then I redirected into the Swordmasters. See, because of the camera angle, that looks really close. That's actually not that far from him. I think it was only a 9 or something. It really wasn't far. It was probably just as far for the Lord, who I also charged in. So my plan was get all the Kestrels in there and the Lord. If he wanted to challenge that with a BSB, that was fine. I was going to put my Kestrel champion in there just so that with his BSB, just so there's a chance of survival. Yes, I knew my Kestrels were probably going to get it in the neck and mostly die, if not die. But I'd have also blown through his. I'd have got through his Swordmasters. I'd have killed his BSB off, and then whatever survived is going through onto this. So you've got the chariot, you've got the lancers, you've got everything else lined up here. So there's quite a lot of points tied up in there. So I thought it was worth it to blow this off and then just let him run riot, and I was just going to keep double fleeing and stuff like that. And these Kestrels can come through. Unfortunately, only the general got in. It was a risk. Hey, it's what it is. And what's happened now is I've got both my Kestrels strung out in the middle of the board, not in a great way. So yeah, I was looking pretty bad. Right. So turn 4. So what I was thinking here is I need to somehow put some points down. So what I started doing was moving all my archers there. They are purposefully in this. I planned I basically moved them all up here, and I planned to keep them as far away from the board as possible and plan this flee. And you'll see that in my turn 5 or his turn 4. Other than that, I've moved the Brahminians round on the top, as you can see, and the idea is they're going to go after the initiate, the Fiery Heart. I must admit, this was probably the best thing I planned in the entire tournament. Like, maybe game 4, but this actually thought through in considering. In shooting, I managed to knock a few of the Rymanites, see if I get lucky, and the Brahminians came through with in fact, I think it was the BSB. Or was it the Briar Maidens? I cannot remember. No, let's. I'm looking at it from the BSB, so let's give it to the BSB. The one thing he kills the entire weekend was John's Initiate, the Fiery Heart, which either shows that maybe I was shooting at the wrong things, or how unlucky John was in that shot. The guy shot at him twice and hit and wounded both times because he didn't do it the rest of the weekend. Oh, poor John. Anyway, so that's quite good for me. I was pretty happy with that. Right, my Kestrels, something happened. They didn't flee, did they? This is them going off the board, like they died. I can't remember where they fled, but I died. That's what it is. So this is me losing one of my Kestrel units. And this is what happened. So because of the double flee charge, because the swordmasters, sorry, the general killed a load of swordmasters in my turn, but otherwise got no wounds to him. I think that was because I put Awaken the Beast off in +1 resilience on my guy, so I was res 6. But everyone, in short, everyone is back there fleeing, double flees from chariot, everything else. So everyone was going off the board. It was just quite funny. But I was hopeful. I've got the BSB there, so I can rally some of them and then come back. So yeah, pretty happy. It also meant that actually there's now a significant amount of gap here, and I've created some space between his army and mine. So actually, what I've thought about how I'd use the army in certain situations, this worked quite well. Unfortunately, my mages are a long way away from. Oh, it must have been a charge from there. Why did I do that? Why didn't I just let him charge there? I might have actually put some wounds on him. I think I made a wrong move there. I don't. Oh no, I didn't. Okay, this is. I think I rolled a double six here. It was practically. That's where they were. Yeah, it was like a double six or something, or 11, and I rolled it. Anyway, so I thought I'd just sit on the edge of the table, and then there'd be a chariot in the middle there, and I could use Fame Flight and then fly away. It didn't work out that way. Yeah. That was unlucky. I think that was unlucky, like rolling that high. But hey, hey, it's the way the world works. Right then, in this turn, yeah, it's not looking great. I killed a few. I think I killed the BSB. Uh, oh, I still survived. Yeah, I survived 2 rounds on this. Yeah. Um, as you can see, all my stuff has rallied. What I've done is I've brought the other Kestrels over this way and my Brimings, and what I'm doing is I'm threatening this chariot. I've got enough shooting there to actually do some quite big impact plus magic. So I'm hoping that I can do between either a Swarm of Insects or Master of Earth and the bow that I can actually do something about it. Otherwise, all my archers just turn around. They can't shoot, and yeah, I'm waiting to. But they are far enough away that actually they can't suddenly run into there. So I think I've mitigated this threat. But I have left my lord isolated. Yeah. Silnar's turn 5. I managed to put 2 wounds on there with a Master of Earth, so all looking good. Just need to roll a 2 and then another 2, and the BSB fails to do it. And that would have been the dead chariot. So what happens instead? I also lose my general this turn. I fluffed and he killed me. But I did kill his BSB, pretty sure. Or was that in shooting? It might be in shooting, so I didn't kill his BSB. He then turns around to full reform with his swordmasters there. But luckily there are all my archers there, so I still have a chance of doing them in. You can also see though that the chariot has gone into my my briars. The stand and shoot didn't work. I think I'd got a bit of PTSD by this point of fleeing. Though the sensible reaction probably should have been to flee, because it was an auto charge, and maybe I'd have just got away. But yeah, if he hadn't been there, I think. Oh no, my Kestrels were out of arc. So what I should have done there was fled, and then I could have bounced all the way through with my Kestrels and gone after that. Yep, he kills my unit. I do nothing to him. On my turn, I absolutely massacre the unit. Do I kill it? We don't count for it, but I definitely kill his BSB. I don't think I killed the unit though. I'd also mute. Sorry, pictures got a bit sketchy at this point because John, as you can see from his stuff, he started backing off his turn 5. He brought these round. I decided not to charge my Kestrels in turn 6 because it was looking pretty dodgy. I I had the archers. I realised I wasn't going to win this, so I dropped it, moved around. Well, no, I'd got to there. I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't even form a conga line. It was actually quite clever in the rules because the middle of the unit will be further away. So he was going to win this, and I brought everything around in shooting magic just to kill this chariot, and I did, which is good. Yeah, so those were what I killed in this game. I managed to. I think this was me killing the BSB in shooting somehow. I do not know how I did it. Did I kill? Yeah, we didn't count it up, so meh. Anyway, I got 1,070 points, and he killed 1,474. Throwing my general away was probably not wise, so I keep doing that. That's twice I've thrown my general away. Don't worry, that is a bit of a theme to the tournament. I think I was unlucky with the Kestrel Knights, so and the Briar Maidens I should have fled in hindsight. I think I was hoping for a couple of lucky poisons and just a bit of a PTSD from when the Kestrels rolled really, really high and just ran off. Um, Otherwise, I don't think I played it badly from an objective point of view. I don't think I played it too badly from the game point of view, but it reinforces the belief. So splitting my Kestrels is not a good idea. Um, they work quite well together. When you think about the other games I've had, they've they bounce off each other very well on one flank, especially when they're given a load of space. And the first 2 games of this tournament, when you think about the UD and the Orcs and Goblins, and then the first 2 games of this, I've definitely split them. And what I've come to the conclusion of is I'm missing a combat unit. I don't I don't know how I generate this. I think double strength buff can be really do that with the Great Eagles. I think it does make them there. I don't think it's good enough. And I don't think I need a great combat unit. I just need a mediocre one that I can throw in on certain things like monsters or something that's flying around. And my thought is 10 Heath Riders with the Predator Pendant. It's something also I can shove because the way I'm thinking about changing the BSB setup. I'll talk about that probably next game. Yeah, I'm thinking. Oh, sorry, no, I'll talk about it now. I've got time. Yeah, it's only 27 minutes. So I'm thinking about that of putting them on a horse and putting them in the Briar Maidens, just expanding them to a unit of 9. So you've got 10, giving them the poison bow, and that's quite a lot of poison output. That's a reasonable unit, especially when you add +1 strength to it. But it's just running around. It's quite good at saving points, lots of magic resistance. Then I've got the Eagles that I can buff, the 2 Kestrels, the Lord, and then the Lord can go in a Heath Rider unit, and suddenly that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I think that's the way I want to go with that one. Yeah, I think that's the way. 10 Heath Riders, and I sacrificed a couple of Archer blocks. Yeah, but those are things I'm thinking about. But otherwise, it was a really fun game. And well done to John. He soundly beat me again. Ironically, I've got a friendly game against him tomorrow evening. So fingers crossed. But and it's against his Orc and Goblins. It's my same list with a few changes that I've spoken about, minus the Heath Riders because I don't have the models. That's going to be like a next winter. That'll be the army. For this winter, it's just seeing how double strength buff changes the setup, and I lose the master. But otherwise, thank you very much for listening. I'm on 7 points after 2 games, going into game 3. But thank you very much for listening. Hope you enjoyed.